Assalamualaikum to Dr. Ali. My name is Syahirah binti Zakariah and I will start this presentation with the topic Introduction of Fast Fashion Industry. Fast fashion. What does it mean? It can be described as a trend which clothing collections are produced quietly to enable customers to catch up the up-to-date fashion at the lower price. The leader in fast fashion such as Zara, H&M and Uniqlo always try hard to keep produce the latest clothes in order to get the top place in the fast fashion market. Generation nowadays are looking forward to follow the new fashion and trendy clothes. So with the existence of fast fashion industry, they can afford to buy all the clothes that they want and throw them away and buy new clothes anytime. It sounds perfect, right? Shh. It's wrong. This trend had negatively impact on the environment. The main material used for produce clothes in fast fashion is polyester. This polyester is produced from petroleum. The process uses a lot of energy and releases carbon dioxide as well as acid and ammonia into the water supply. And professional researchers say that polyester fabric can shed 700,000 microplastic fiber with every wash, which end up in ocean and also in our food. So, what is the problem statement of this study? For your information, the fast fashion industry is the second largest environmental problem after the oil industry. Thus, in water pollution context, the fast fashion industry can increase the risk of polluted water, which can lead to habitat destruction, human health problems, and can decreasing the sources of water. It is estimated that 1.8 million people were dead due to the water pollution impact. Therefore, the problem statement of this study is, how are we going to prevent water pollution that caused by fast fashion industry? And the second problem statement is, what are the regulations that used by Malaysia and international party to control the water pollution that caused by fast fashion industry? And for now, the objective of this study are, first, to gain knowledge about the impact of fast fashion industry towards water pollution. Second, to determine the most effective prevention in order to decrease the impact of fast fashion towards water pollution. And the last is to identify the regulation and guideline that used by Malaysia and international party to control the water pollution that caused by fast fashion industry. So I will pass this presentation to the next presenter.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is ANNALYA and I will be talking about the prevention of impacts of fast fashion towards the environment. Fast fashion is mass manufacturing of inexpensive and disposable garments. After the oil industry, the fashion industry is the second major polluter in the world. As the sector develops, the environmental harm gets worse. For example, the majority of nations where clothing is made allow direct discharge of harmful wastewater from textile industry into waterways without any treatment. Toxic compounds found in wastewater includes lead, mercury, and others. The aquatic life and the health of millions of people live along those riverbanks are seriously harmed by these. Additionally, the contamination enters the water, where it eventually spreads throughout the world. The use of fertilizers for cotton production, which severely pollutes runoff streams and evaporation fluids, is another significant source of water contamination. Nevertheless, alternatives and methods exist to lessen these issues. The first prevention step is to buy less and buy better quality. Fast fashion companies have persuaded us that we must have the newest look in our closets in order to be happy. Yet, these trends are typically made of low-quality materials that will not last, prompting the purchase of other items. The picky dressing is a good way to tackle quick trends. On the other hand, it is not necessary to have 3 plain black shirts. Instead, we can buy one that is made from 100% cotton sourced from sustainable particles. Keep in mind that even the greenest garment uses resources for production and transport to your home, creating some environmental impact. Then again, our excessive consumerism is the source of the issue. Why do we buy 10 items when others buy 2? We frequently believe that acquiring new clothing will make us happier. We might want to re-evaluate some of the tenets of our way of life. The next prevention step is to think twice before throwing out your clothes. This is due to the fact that the majority of clothing articles are made of synthetic, non-biodegradable fibers, and they will simply accumulate in landfills. Polyester and other synthetic fibers, which are made of plastic, will take up to 200 years to break down. As an alternative, give your clothing a chance to live again. There are numerous options to redistribute the clothing you no longer need without affecting the environment, from donation organizations and shelters to resale shops. Just make sure they are clean and in good shape before delivering them. Furthermore, second-hand apps such as Carousel not only help clear the closet, but you can also earn extra cash. Moreover, a ripped garment can occasionally be repaired or even completely redone with a little creativity. In addition, we can put them in a textile recycling bin, as clothing can be made from recycled textile. It is obvious that the clothing is now disposable. As a result, we produce an increasing amount of textile waste. A family in the West discards 30 kg or more garments on an average each year. Only 15% of the waste is recycled or given, and the remainder is disposed of in a landfill or burned.
The other way to prevent the impact of fashion industry to the environment is to choose natural or semi-synthetic fibers. About 700,000 individual microfibers are released into the water each time we wash a synthetic garment, making their way to our oceans. Small aquatic organisms will consume those microfibers and then eaten by larger fish and ended up in our stomach. This will introduce plastic in our food chain. Choosing a natural or semi-synthetic fiber are eco-friendly, which indicates that the production process has a minimal impact on the environment and satisfies at least half of the following criteria. The criteria are low water need, low energy need, waste base derived from renewable resources, chemical control, absence of genetically modified organisms (GMO), absence of soil erosion, and biodegradable. Recycled fibers such as recycled polyester and recycled nylon are produced from waste materials, while organic cotton, linen, and hemp are the plant-based fibers. Lyocell, orange fibers, pineapple fibers, and cupro are the semi-synthetic fibers with low environmental impact. Massive freshwater and ocean water pollution are results of the extensive use of chemical and cotton production. Then, the way to prevent this from happening is to choose sustainable brands. Fashion produced by sustainable brands is made with the utmost consideration for both people and the environment, minimizing its negative effects whenever possible. The ultimate objective is to create a system that functions while leaving no negative footprint. It is simpler and less expensive to visit the nearby retail area to replenish someone's wardrobe, as the offer is still limited. However, the more sustainable clothing we desire, the more will become available. Sustainable fashion does not support child labor, good for human and earth, uses less water, saves animal lives, and reduces carbon footprint. There are few ways to know if a brand is actually sustainable, because some brands are greenwashing customers to buy their garments. Firstly, check the materials and then visit their website. After that, read about the company's purpose or mission and try to look for standard or certification. Sustainability might become the norm today, but it is up to the consumer to choose the right clothes or support the right brands.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is AIDAYANNE binti ANUAR IDZUDIN. I am going to talk about the regulations and guidelines in the fashion industry. As of April 2022, this act is under consideration in the New York State Assembly, the Fashion Sustainability and Social Accountability Act. If passed, would require all fashion companies in the New York with more than $100 million in revenue to map at least half of their supply chains. They will also have to disclose environmental and social impacts in public reports. Fines would be imposed if this were not done. Next is corporate governance initiatives. The goal of this initiative is to improve the EU regulatory framework on company law and corporate governance. As part of this, brands operating in the EU will be expected to report on long-term outcomes that include the environment, human rights, and social impact along their supply chains, rather than just reporting on short-term financial outcomes. Importantly, the new model also includes liability for non-compliance. Next is proposed EU legislation. Extensive legislation has been proposed in March 2022 by the EU, including an EU-wide extended producer responsibility scheme, which will force fashion brands to pay a waste fee based on how circular their items are. Next, the banning of unsold items being destroyed and a limit on textile waste sent overseas. Third, a crackdown on greenwashing. Fourth, a focus on fiber-to-fiber recycling rather than the recycling of plastic bottles into cloth, which comes with its own problems. Last but not least, Green Button Label Law in Germany. The Green Button is a government-run certification label for sustainable textile. It demands that mandatory standards are met to protect people and the environment. A total of 46 stringent social and environmental criteria must be met, covering a wide spectrum from wastewater to forced labor. The entire company is audited and the greenhouse bottom is only awarded if both the product and the company comply with all the requirements.
Hi, my name is FAAHIEMA and today I will present to you about guideline and regulation for water pollution in Malaysia. There are two regulations implemented to help to reduce water pollution in Malaysia. The first regulation is Environmental Quality, Sewage and Industry Effluents Regulation 1979. This regulation implemented to outline conditions for any discharge from any industry are needed for director written consent. If not, they cannot release the discharge. However, the director may decline this proposal if the discharge will likely damage the waterway or pollute any other area. The second regulation is Environmental Quality, Prescribed Premises, Raw Natural Rubber, Regulation 1978. The purpose of this regulation are to monitor and control any premises that produce and process latex and raw rubber, and also give permit for the discharge of effluents from specified premises. And that's it from guideline and regulation for water pollution in Malaysia.
Assalamualaikum, my name is SHAZLINA binti MAMAT and my matric number is 2022-782431. As a conclusion, we need to conscious that fast fashion is the most polluted and harmful to our environment and was include the pollution of water that we discussed in this study. It gives the most harm impact after oil and gas. Therefore, all of the objective for this study is already achieved. So as a responsible human being, we need to take and quick action to stop the fast fashion trend from being more worse in the future. In addition, to overcome all of the harmful impact from this trend to our water especially, there are some future recommendations that we need to comply. So its impacts can be reduced with some way, which is avoid trends and embrace our uniqueness in have our own style, shopping second-hand or vintage clothes more, support minimalism, fashion that long lasts, buy your clothes directly from creators, wash less or once in a time, choose cool water and skip dry cleaning while washing your clothes, repair your clothes to make sure you still can use it, choose mostly standard shipping when order your clothes, and rent clothes for special occasion so anyone can use it after you used.